Which is better, a will or a living trust? Hi, I'm Dan Covington. I'm an estate planning attorney. I've been helping people get their affairs in order for just over 20 years, just going on 21 years, I guess now. So people ask me a lot, a will or a living trust, which is better? And a lot of the question boils down to how you want your estate to be handled. A will is usually going to require probate, right? So the probate process essentially is necessary so the court can take assets that are in your individual name and those can be gathered to be distributed to your heirs. Now, a trust, on the other hand, doesn't require probate because you've already, during life, put those assets into your trust. So that's a fundamental difference. You're probably familiar with the will. It says when I pass away, I want everything to go to my spouse. If my spouse doesn't survive me, then perhaps everything to be divided among my children. I name an executor, I name a backup executor, someone to deal with the attorneys and go to court. Then my will needs to be filed for probate. The court looks at it. It needs to be distributed to heirs or people who would maybe receive my estate if it weren't for the will. So the people have a chance to contest the will. Once a court accepts the will for probate, then the court appoints an executor. The executor files an inventory. In Kansas, that's within 30 days. It's required. Then the executor gives notice by publication to heirs and creditors. Creditors have a 4-month period, and at least unknown creditors have a 4-month period within which they can file a claim. More or less, around a 6-month period or more, the court is going to supervise, in most cases, the settlement of your estate, the payment of creditor claims by your executor, and ultimately distribution of your estate. On the other hand, with a living trust document, you might have the same setup that when the first of us passes away, everything is still there for the surviving spouse, and then after the surviving spouse passes away, we want everything divided among our children. That's pretty common, right? And of course, you've heard me talk about all the different ways a trust can distribute. You can make it you can make it so that it's administered after your death in an extended manner. So maybe you want your children's college or post high school training to be paid for. You can set up your trust to take care of that. You can set up your trust to ultimately not pay out until your child reaches 22 or 25 or 30. You can put all those mechanisms in, but that doesn't make it. That's not the big difference, I guess, between the trust and the will. And the trust, again, your assets are, when you sign, you're already going to put those assets into your trust. They're still going to be available during your life, but then when you pass away, your trustee, which is the difference between a trust and a will. Your trust has a trustee, your will has an executor. But the second you pass away with your trust, that trustee can hand out those assets. It's a fairly simple proceeding, much less daunting than probate. And you hear that the trust is going to save you from the probate process, but often in a situation for a couple, the trust is actually going to likely save you from probate twice, right? Because that first spouse with a will passes away, it's probated. Then the second spouse with a will passes away, it's probated as well. So a trust really can go a long way to, if you're leaning that direction, it can go a long way toward saving your family what can be it's not some horrible, excruciating thing, but what can be a several month process and a few $1,000s, and kind of a procedure that maybe you would have avoided had you signed a trust in the first place. So I hope this clarifies your choice in estate planning. I've hit this topic maybe 5 months ago, but I kind of wanted to come back to it. It's a common question. If you have any more questions, please feel free to let me know. I'm Dan Covington. Again, you can always find me at Estate Plan Kansas.